Hi, and welcome to 5 power tactics for powerful local mobile marketing campaigns to give you super powerful results. A cheesy presentation from Brian Carter, Director of Search Marketing at FuelInteractive.com. Yeah! So I'm going to do 5 major tactics here. The first one is put all your money in Google AdWords. Yes, I'm serious. No, I don't work for Google. I'll tell you why. I work at a interactive agency, and we do SEO, we do pay-per-click. We have a lot of clients, and we're very busy. And I'm always looking for the most efficient way to get results for clients without us, wasting our time. So my experience is it's not really worth it working in Yahoo and MSN. Also, I could go in all the reasons, but really. You can get what you need in AdWords, and if you can't, then I don't know. You're in a narrow niche of some sort. So anyway, so the other thing is, what do you get when you do AdWords? Well, you all in one place. You've got search results, pay-per-click on the search results for 60% of the global share of search. You got the search partners like AOL. You've got the content network. You can do placement targeting like media placement. Local business ads, mobile ads, not to mention all the radio ads, print ads, and all that other stuff you can all do in one place without having to log into multiple places, blah, 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 blah. So I think it's more efficient. Tactic number 2. Learn and use the 4 methods of AdWords geo-targeting. And I made these up. I don't, not saying they're super original or anything, but the first one is using most people think in terms of geo-targeting. You're making geo-targeting at the campaign level, whether you're choosing states or cities or drawing on the map where you want the ads to show up, and then you use broad keywords. So for example, we do a lot of tourism in Myrtle Beach, so we might geo-target somebody to North Carolina. We're going to catch the people who are driving down from there, and we'll use a keyword like vacation or beach vacation or something like that. It's just as far for them to drive from Charlotte, North Carolina to Myrtle Beach as it is to drive to the North Carolina coast. So the second type of geo-targeting is a broad campaign plus geo-modifier keywords. So geo-modifier means putting the city name in the keyword. So we might have a campaign that's really nationally focused. It's not targeted, but we'll put in something like Myrtle Beach Resorts as the keyword, and so anybody that's interested in that, we don't really care where they are. Later on, you might want to separate it and figure out how you're going to spend on the ones, people from Wyoming. Maybe people from Wyoming click a lot, but they don't come. Who knows? So they're a waste of money. So later you can figure that out. Number 3, locally focused placements. So you can do placement targeting, like I mentioned, where you can go in and search. In our case, we got destination stuff like in Myrtle Beach, so people might end up on myrtlebeach.com, which is a place where we can place some ads. So that's the 3rd geo-targeting method. The 4th is local business ads. So if you have a local business profile with Google that you're managing, even if you don't, actually, I think you can do this. I don't think you have to manage it; just has to be in Google Local. And so you go in and you create a special local business ad, and you tie it to that business. It's a little bit different writing them, and the name of the business is what you're stuck with. If you don't like the way the name is put in, you might have to manage your business profile. And we do that in a separate campaign so that we can choose whether we're using really general keywords or not, and play with that and manage the budget and so on. So those are the 4 methods of AdWords geo-targeting. I've written more about that elsewhere on blogs if you want to read more. So here's an example that uses 3 of those 4. This is U-Save Car Rental at the Myrtle Beach Airport. We're using local ads. We're doing the broad campaigns with geo-modified keywords like Myrtle Beach Car Rental, and we're doing site targeting. And really, this is the funny thing is, you come to a conference like this, even you present at a conference like this, you want to say, like, here's this really cool thing nobody knows about. It's really awesome. It's a little trick you should try. But what I'm finding is that a lot, it's like that 80-20 rule. I get 80% of my results from 20% of what I do, and I get 80% of my profit from 20% of my keywords. Probably not more like 5.95. But some of these non-obvious, or I'm sorry, really obvious methods, no-brainers like putting in Myrtle Beach car rental, can be the most profitable things to do. So don't trick yourself out of it or complicate it. Everything needs to be tested, but still, sometimes, like in this case, here's the problem with the local business ads. The volume isn't that high, so it takes us longer to test ads. So, we're getting there, 235%. We want everything to be over 500 ROAS, and I'm going to talk about KPIs next, so don't worry about that if you don't know what that is. But let's talk about it now. KPIs, key performance indicators. How do you know if your pay-per-click campaign is a success? And that's going to depend on what you're measuring, and really, do you have conversion tracking? If you don't have that, you're in the Stone Ages. You really got to get conversion tracking, and it's not always easy. Some clients, it's harder to get them into. Sometimes there are bureaucratic problems with the programmer, and so on, getting that code in there where it's supposed to be, or there could be issues with the dynamic site, and how are you going to blah blah blah. There's a lot of issues sometimes, but you got to get the conversion code in, because at first all you're dealing with, like, are we spending the budget? Because you know how budgets are. You got to spend them, or you don't get them next year or whatever, things like that. And clients, it's weird, but they expect you to spend the money that they ask you to spend, so they don't understand when you don't. So first you get your spend, then you got your click-through rate. Are you getting a good click-through rate? But that can be deceiving, because things that get high click-through rates could get low conversion rates. So you really got to get the conversion tracking and look at, well, if you're doing leads, it's going to be what's your cost per lead. If you're doing revenue, then it should be ROAS, in my opinion. ROI is a different measurement. People are used to talking about ROI, and they're calculated differently. ROAS is just the revenue divided by the ad spend. So if we go back here, to get a 900 some percent, that means we made 9 times as much as we spent. Say we spent like $500, that means we made 4,500, right? That's ROAS. There are some more advanced ones that you can get into. We don't get into them that much. Profit is probably the most advanced, but that's really you only deal with sheer profit when your budget's unlimited, because when your budget is limited, then you're doing things in terms of what the spend is, right? You want to spend the spend as effectively as possible. Profit per impression, it's another one that we don't really get into as much, but for revenue, ROAS, and for leads, it's cost per lead. How much does your client, or do you want to pay for a lead? That's a really important question to ask. It's not always easy to answer. The answer's not right at the beginning, and so on. So that's KPIs. I talked a little bit about spending the budget. It's very important to spend the budget. Sometimes in local, there's a narrow niche, and it's hard to spend the budget sometimes. So you use the 4 methods of AdWords, geo-targeting, and you can use Google AdWords campaign optimizer, the main goal of which seems to be to make Google a lot more money, because it gives you more keywords, and it helps spend the money. So what you got to do at first is spend the money, then do it. Next, local mobile tactic number 4: avoid local tunnel vision. Like for us, if we're dealing with people who are coming to Myrtle Beach, we got to think about where they're coming from, and we can do origin-specific offers. So for example, if you look at this chart right here, most of the people coming for some of our things are from North Carolina. So for a resort these days, we do something like $100 off the gas, a gas credit offer. Another thing is competing locales. We've had people who are going to book golf for Daytona or Orlando instead of Myrtle Beach, so we put in an ad that says, hey, why not Myrtle Beach? Myrtle Beach has 100 courses, package is $89 and up. Are you nuts? So we're intercepting competitor stuff. Competing offerings, another issue. I am running out of time. We got some best practices in terms of segmenting, that you want to segment your city versus your brand name, and treat those differently so you can get good results for the more noob searches, like the new people who don't know your brand yet. I got a bonus thing too. This will all be available, of course, to attendees via the website to download later. Some interesting lead generation tactics and so on. But I'm out of time. So that's it. Thank you very much. I'm Brian Carter with Fuel Interactive.